Hello, Brother Monroe here. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts and Division 3. And today we are, well, I will introduce Drakenival, and you can tell us what are we going to be building today.
So today we're going to be building a last-minute clutch decision. We're going to be building a Tennessee class battleship.
Yes.
Um,
Which I can absolutely spell.
Yeah, largely because I think you need an extra E at the end, but never mind.
Probably. I told you I couldn't spell. There we go.
Yeah, this is largely because it seems the game has hard locked out the 16-inch gun option on the modernized Dreadnought for the USA, which is a little bit of a problem if you want to build a Colorado.
Which is very strange because it's quite unusual for the hulls in the game to have, a limit on what kind of guns they can have, and usually it's only, you can't mount 19s and 20s except on like the super ships. But it would be nice to have 16-inch guns.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the devs will see this and they'll consider it for us.
The fact that this particular hull is more accurate to a Tennessee helps as well. So
yes,
swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, and it will give a little bit of variety to the division as well, having a 14-inch standard.
Yes.
So yeah, I know it's not quite what we originally
It's not the end
intended,
of the world,
but it's not the end of the world. Okay, so how about displacement? What are we talking about in terms of a Tennessee?
Okay, so by the time, she's very heavily refitted. Both Tennessee and California are very heavily refitted during World War II, partly as a result of the Japanese attacks at Pearl Harbor, and then they're completely modernized. So the normal displacement when they were initially built was just over 32,000 tons full load, which is what we're using here, is 33,200 tons.
Okay. The smallest the game will let me go to is 38,500.
Which, to be fair, is just about the absolute upper limit of them, and probably more accurately represents something of what you might see when they've been bulged and everything for the Second World War.
Okay, then.
So we'll just live with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Again, we're using a game. It's not exactly got to be 100% on the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And players of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts will know that, the USA hasn't had any unique hulls for it for quite some time. Because, of course, it's not been added to the campaign yet, USA. So they're a little bit behind. So some of them are going to be a little bit tricky. What about speed? What was a kind of top speed? Because I know the standards weren't exactly renowned as being the speediest ships.
So we have a lovely tortoise like 21 knots.
Well, yeah, yeah, not the fastest in the world. Then.
No.
What about bulkheads? Pretty standard, were they?
Yeah, you're going to want to go with standard. The standard class in and of themselves, when they were built, were relatively well subdivided. But by the standards of World War II, it is pretty much average, because you only want to put maximum on things like Iowas and Yamatos and things like that. So we have to stick with standard.
Makes sense. Should we leave the beam and draft for now?
Yes.
Because we can always adjust that later if we need to kind of add secondaries and things. And presumably she had regular kind of crew quarters. She wasn't a unusually cramped ship.
No.
Okay. Engines. What kind of,
oil fuel, obviously. Oil 3.
Yep.
Got access to the best US oil. Balanced boilers. And she is a turbo-electric ship.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the standards were. So,
I think that's the first historical ship we've built with a turbo electric.
Yeah, it was pretty much only the World War One and immediately thereafter US capital ships that are. So,
okay, awesome. And what kind of backup did she have for that?
Diesels.
Yeah, diesels.
Okay. Two, yeah.
And then
shaft 2, yeah, semi-balanced seam. So electric 2.
Very nice.
Because we're doing her as her late war refit variant. So expect lots of 5-inch 38 turrets to appear soon.
Okay, the towers, because we've already had a quick look. They're all the same model.
Yeah.
I think they're just slightly different sizes. So it's really, how close to the edge of the
So
hull.
historically, her superstructure basically did actually come up right to the edge.
Okay, so
with you see these little outgrowths we've got where they've stuck a couple of boats.
Yeah.
And where we will subsequently be sticking some secondary guns. So yeah, that's probably fine.
Okay.
Although if we can shift it just a fraction forward, because in theory, if we want to be completely accurate, okay, I'll go with that. If we want to be completely accurate, as per historical, we want the secondary batteries will basically have one turret just forward of those outer bits, then one on each of those uppers, and then one at the back.
Right.
Just behind them, where these larger boats are, but I don't know if we're going to fit that on this one. So we might have to downsize the tower a little bit.
Yeah, we can also make her a bit wider as well, if we need to. Okay, and then secondary towers again. We do not get a lot of choice. Again, I think they're all the same size actually. Yeah, they all look identical.
And we want to bunch the secondary tower right behind the primary tower, but with some space for the funnel. Although from the looks of it, there is a funnel space between those two fire control directors on this tower. So
yes,
we can probably drop in right on the back.
Yeah, there's a slot in there. For a funnel,
which is good.
Speaking of funnels, we have these ones as options. I think you've got. Well, basically those two types. So this one has kind of more detail and a little aerial.
Unfortunately, neither of them have a raked cap, which is what she does in the late war. But let's have a look at how those compare on the superstructure.
So we've got a light funnel 1.
No, that's far too small.
Far too small. Go all the way up to a 3 or a 4, and then you've got the tall funnel, which doesn't fit.
Okay, well let's go with the 4 because it's the tallest.
There you go. The biggest one we can get. All right.
Yeah. What have we got in terms of secondary towers, by the way? I know we've put that one in, but do we have any others different looking ones?
That's the only choice we get, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Just very slightly graphical differences. Fair enough.
Yeah. Which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, we're quite limited in choice with the US hulls. I'm assuming one of the guns is going to be on here.
Yep.
So
we've got 4 installations of 14s,
which is really interesting because we haven't seen a kind of triple. Well, it's not triple, is it? the 12 gun armament, which is going to be quite different. So I know the rear turret will be on a barbette. Y, but with A, where is she in relation to the kind of break here? A turret is actually right up against B turret. Okay. So that positioning that we had is probably actually fairly accurate. Okay, brilliant.
In her final refitted format, she doesn't actually appear to have a breakwater. So
no, fair enough. And then on the rear, was the barbette kind of? I think for a 14,
it's right up.
Like right up against the back, like that.
Yeah. So
like
and then, likewise, we want to jam that turret around. Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, secondaries then. All the
Yeah, I wish we had a
secondaries.
bit more. I wish we had a bit more secondary tower status, but because if you look on the actual pictures, she kind of has a multi-stepped down secondary tower that leads from the primary superstructure all the way down to her to Y turret. But
Yeah. I mean, does she have...
we don't have that here. But
No,
so
she doesn't have any centerline secondaries fitted here or anything, does she?
no.
Okay.
So, but we might end up having to fit them
Yeah.
depending on how it goes. So we want twin 5-inch for the secondaries.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first place is we want to put them at there and there. If you take off the center, the topmost one, and then we want one just forward, kind of somewhere there. That's it.
Yeah.
And then kind of mirror that aft. Oh, we can just about get one in. It's not going to do a lot, is it?
No, it's not. But it's there for the looks.
Yes. Yeah, the secondaries don't so far haven't really made all that much difference.
No, they really haven't. I mean, I mean, in this type of battle where it's battleship on battleship, all they're really doing is kind of giving the enemy damage control parties something to distract them, basically.
Yeah. And then it's just probably using twin 2-inch to just cover the superstructure in anti-aircraft gun mounts.
There's one there. It's pretty nice. One there, and then I think that's about it.
Yeah.
You're being a bit optimistic.
They're not torpedo launchers. Yeah.
Did she have torpedo launchers out of interest?
No.
No.
Not in her refit status.
Okay then. Well, in that case, we can move over to doing her protection and fire control and so on. So, what kind of armor would she have had?
So her main belt is 13.5 inches thick. But we're looking at the materials.
We can do that. That's not a problem at all. So 13.5.
Yeah. And then because she is an all or nothing ship, so we're just looking at 1.5 inch splinter fore and aft.
Sure. And then deck.
So the deck armor starts out at 3.5 inches. I'm just checking its refit. Refit data. Okay, actually, so amidships in her final status, the amidships is 5 inches thick deck armor.
Okay, it's not too bad. And then
and the lower deck is fore and aft is 3.
3. Okay, actually pretty good deck protection.
Yeah.
That's decent.
Yeah, the US was quite interested in long range fire, so they armored their ships accordingly.
Okay, and then the tower.
16.
Very nice. And the superstructure?
It's just, again, 1.5.
Yeah, just a little bit. And what about the turrets?
So turret faces are 18 inch.
Damn. That's very good.
The US was quite enthusiastic about that. The sides... so the roof of the thing is 5 inches. And then the 5-inch gun mounts, whatever.
Yeah, we
probably 1.5, something like that.
Can't really adjust those very much anyway. Okay, that's a very interesting armor scheme.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to see how she does. Okay, so how good was the armor? So I'm guessing Crypt 2 or 3 for
Crop 3. So because it's good, but it's good quality 1910s Krupp steel, but it's not the King George V and Bismarck quality, which are the only ones that are going to get Krupp 4.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And then how heavily armored were her barbettes?
But they're 13 inches, so I'm probably would argue maybe 5 barbette 3.
Yeah, sounds about right to me. Torpedo protection.
Torpedo protection, by the time that she's modernized, she has they have improved the torpedo protection. So I'd probably say anti-torp 3.
Okay.
No, double bottom.
Yeah, the torpedo protection might actually come in handy in this this division.
Reinforced 1.
Yep.
Anti-flood 2. I mean, the US damage control is good, but it's she's an older ship, so it's not quite as good as the newer ones.
Makes sense. And then
all or nothing.
Okay. And then presumably she would carry either increased or maximum AP shells for.
See, now this is the interesting thing. If she knows she's going into combat, she is going to. But actually, most of the standard class by the end of World War II were carrying what, if anything, increased HE because they're being used in a shore bombardment role.
Okay. We could go for a standard ratio.
We'll go for a standard ratio. It's probably the fairest.
50-50 mix.
Yeah.
The two. And what type of HE shells would she have carried?
So base fused was pretty standard.
And the AP shells?
The AP shells for... let's think. AP shells, that's going to be the AP Mark 16 for the late war World War II stuff. So that's going to be... What have we got? We've got capped ballistic, AP... Armour piercing ballistic cap. I'd probably go for AP BC.
Okay.
Because they're new shells. They're not they're not the same as the World War One era ones.
Okay. And then we'll come back to shell size, but what explosive would they have used?
So the US uses explosive D, so dunite.
Dunite.
Okay, we're not using nitric acid this time.
Yeah, I mean they are very similar chemicals, aren't they? It's in the mixture and all the rest of it. And then
cordite.
Presumably they're using cordite as well. They're not. Would they convert? Some of the later US ships converted to triple base by then.
Possibly, but she's not a later one. They use something called SPD, but it was near as much as makes no difference. Might as well call it cordite 3.
Okay, and then
although it is a lot less prone to blowing up than cordite.
I mean, the cordite 3 isn't too bad. Because this is the World War One stuff, which is pretty explosive. So we have on the AP shells, they are 1,181 kilograms, going at 868 meters per second.
They're how much?
I know. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, plus 78%. No flipping wonder. Yeah, because the historical Mark 16 is like, I thought for a minute we were talking in pounds, because the historical Mark 16 is 680 kilos.
Yeah,
so why did they put plus 78% markup on that? What the heck did we do?
I'm not sure. I think that may come from the type of shell.
Not give us any extra mass.
I'm not sure actually. If we go down to standard, does it change it? Yeah, it's the type of AP shell.
Okay.
But we could potentially go for light shells. I know they weren't considered light.
Yeah.
But
shell weight 896 kilos. I mean, it's still 200 kilos more than an historical one, but it's
a bit
better
closer
than nothing. Yeah.
We have found that the shells tend to be a bit on the heavy side.
Yes.
With all the other ships anyway. So, and then we've got the HE with a muzzle velocity of 911 and a shell weight of 560.
Is it the HE or the AP?
That's HE.
HE. So historical HE muzzle velocity is 861 meters per second.
So they're
that's actually
little bit fast.
But 823 on the AP, 868 on the AP in the game, so it's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. So
compared to some, it's not too bad.
And how fast could they fire?
In theory, you've got a rate of fire of 1.75 to 2 rounds a minute, so about every 30 to 35 seconds.
So obviously they're on standard reloading at the moment. I wonder if gives us a reload time of 28.4.
And what happens if,
rate
what
of
if we
fire of
break
2.11, and then enhanced 1.65 rounds a minute.
So we've got either a slightly high or slightly low. I'd probably say 1.65 is fair.
Yeah.
Because it's your 1.75 to 2 is your theoretical, but 1.65 is about realistic.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then what kind of traverse mechanism did the turrets have?
So we want to find a train rate of about 2 degrees per second. They're relatively slow. The elevation rate is 9 degrees a second. So
I don't think the
give
game
us
actually tells us that. It would be nice if it did, but
yeah,
weirdly,
I'd go with
does,
advanced hydraulic.
Yeah, yeah.
It does say it says plus
right.
17.5% turret traverse speed, but then it doesn't actually tell us what the turret traverse speed is.
Yeah, I know. Turret traverse speed is a thing in the game, and you can see the difference, but yeah, I don't think it actually reports the number anywhere. I mean, the game has a huge amount of numbers everywhere, but apparently that's not one that's on there. Because it would be interesting to know how quickly the turrets can traverse and stuff. Okay, what about rangefinders?
Rangefinder's coincidence. Rangefinder, but after her refit, coincidence 4. I would say because 5's the maximum, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then, did they have
hydrophones? Yeah. RDF.
Very nice.
And Gen. I'm going to say Gen 2 radar, purely because some of the standards had particularly sort of had some pretty good radar, and others didn't, and it was kind of hit or miss. That's why you got at Surigao Strait, you had 6 standard class battleships, but only 3 of them actually engaged, because they were the 3 with the better radars. So kind of splitting the difference at Gen 2
makes sense.
We can keep the Gen 3s for the latest and greatest stuff.
Okay. Well, it looks good to me. We are we're a little bit overweight, and things to check. What was our operational range? See if we have that about right.
So operation. I mean, it's going to be long because it's a US ship.
Okay. So
what are we measuring in kilometers? 15,000 kilometers.
Okay, so she would be a max range ship. Okay, we could drop the RDF. I know she had it, but it's very heavy and it's not going to make any difference in a one-on-one duel like this.
No.
And we could have her range being a little bit low.
That brings us, which again is probably not going to make it all that much difference.
No, so,
okay, and that gives us pretty much what we need.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Again, kind of squint and you can kind of think it's.
From the front, it's very recognisably a sort of a late model 14-inch US Standard ship. Although the bow is more reminiscent of the earlier ships. Than because it's kind of almost a straight stem, whereas the actual late, like New Mexico's, Tennessee's, actually have quite a nice raked bow.
Okay. Well, we'll see what she. I did notice she's not got the she's not got the best handling, but again, the standards weren't renowned for being particularly nimble, agile ships, from what I remember.
They were supposed to have uniform characteristics rather than progressive improvement.
Because this one has a little bit of a 4-way offset issue, but
I suspect that's largely because we don't have the aft superstructure.
But I think she looks quite good.
Yeah, she looks relatively convincing for what we've got in the game. If they could give us a better hull, it would make a huge difference, and a better rear superstructure. But it's a good enough for government work.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing how how she does against the. Well, she was going to have bigger guns, but against the other ships in the division.
Yeah,
but
now she has more guns.
More guns, exactly. Excellent. Anyway, thank you very much, and well, we'll see you again for the next ship in the division.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.